like Crawford. All right, my brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he get to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I got to get massive, I got to get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower, it made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. It didn't feel like the Jermall Charlo that y'all seen the fights on the half. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as that. You want to get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're going to see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68 pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all got to think about it like that.
And those are the words of Jermall Charlo, the brother of Jermall Charlo that fought Canelo Alvarez when he took the challenge at 168. And let me counterpunch. You know, Jermall has some good points there. He really does. Because if you think about it, Canelo's hardest fights were not against bigger guys or brute force or, you know, the Belangas or, you know what I mean? It wasn't that. Even Triple G wasn't a big middleweight when he fought him. Triple G came in at like 159 and a half. You know what I mean? He just had a big punch and a very good chin and good boxing ability. The people that gave him problems were Floyd, that beat him, then Lara, that, you know, a lot of people thought that beat him, but that was able to move, that were medium-framed guys that were slick and their IQ was very high. That's who was able to beat Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? Or give Canelo Alvarez fits. And what Jermall's saying is he goes up there and he puts all that weight on. How does he know that he's going to be able to carry all that damn weight? You guys hear me talk about Joseph Parker, right? Peter Parker. Joseph Parker gaining 20 extra pounds in his fight against Martin McCauley. Now he's bigger. And you've heard me say that, well, what if he does that against Usyk and stuff like that? I think the same applies here. You have to be fair about your assessment. Terence Crawford going to 168, fighting someone bulking up. Who's to say he'll fight the same? Who's to say he can move the same? Now, if he can, Canelo Alvarez has problems. You know, and the thing is, I think that hopefully Terence Crawford moving down to 168 from his walking around weight, which is about 183, 185, right? Hopefully he'll be able to move and do a lot more and be a lot stronger at that weight class because he's older. And because he's older, you naturally gain more. And because you gain more, you can acclimate easier because that's where you're supposed to be in the first place, right? Maybe that's the case. But that doesn't mean it has to be the case. It could be just like his brother said, you know, Jermall fighting Canelo, you know, once he started, I think it wasn't really, because I mean, I didn't see Jermall Charlo look any slower in there. He looked like the same dude. He just looked like the punches that he was throwing at Canelo didn't hurt Canelo. And Canelo walked right through him. And Canelo came forward and started putting punches together. But I do think wholeheartedly that Canelo, either two things happened. He either carried Jermall once he knew he dropped him. He knew he could stop him. So there was no need for him to destroy the dude. He wasn't a Golovkin. See, Canelo nowadays doesn't have that Golovkin mentality. Golovkin destroyed you. If that had been Golovkin, look what he did to Kell Brook. He did not play with Kell Brook. And if they would have kept that shit going, he would have probably broke every bone in Kell Brook's face. If that fight would have kept on, because Golovkin was starting to unload because he got pissed off because Kell Brook started landing certain shots that made him look bad. You know what I mean? Canelo's not that way. So that's one. Or two, Canelo is just not the fighter that no longer has the desire to stop him or not. So it's either he chose not to stop him or just didn't have the desire to stop him. You know what I mean? And he just or didn't have the ability to stop him. But I don't think that's true. I just think Canelo took it easy on Jermall Charlo. I really do. Because Jermall Charlo, the way because he put shots together, but they weren't like, I wasn't in there. I ain't take the punches. But Canelo didn't hit Jermall to me from what I could see. It didn't appear like those punches were that damn hard for him to do what he did. Now, he took a knee because he's like, these punches are a bit too hard. And I think that's why he took the knee. And I think that what made Canelo Alvarez, well, let me back off because I don't want to, I don't want to appear like a damn bully, which I can respect. I can. Because, you go to 168, from 154. You flew right past 160 where your brother was. Your brother's like, hi. You go to 168 and then you take on Canelo Alvarez and then he beats the shit out of you and he does you bad. It would look bullyish in a sense. So I do kind of, if you look at it like that, I do kind of respect what Canelo did. But what Jermall is saying is, don't pile on that damn muscle mass on. And then here's the thing. If that's the case, and that is true, because we won't know it, unfortunately, until he does it, maybe he may want to take the Conor Benn route. You guys remember Conor Benn? He just fought Chris Eubank Jr. Even though he still lost, he didn't come in at 160 because he wasn't a 160 pounder. So he pretty much stayed true to who he was. Like, dude, I'm not a 160. So Conor was like, dude, I'm not 160. I'm going to come in at 156.4, I think. Right? So he was he was short of that weight. So, you know what I mean? But putting on that weight would have slowed him down. You see what Jermall was talking about? That's exactly what he fears about Terence. Terence goes up there and they're like, dude, I don't even feel like myself. I'm not even performing the same that I'm accustomed to. I'm slow, I'm sluggish, I'm bigger. You know what I mean? I can't react. You know what I mean? I can't get my pivots off, my timing's off, a lot of things off because I'm too big, So that could be the case. But I will disagree with Jermall with this in closing. Where is the motivation? That's exactly the motivation. Why do you think Terence wants to do it? Terence wants to test himself. This is the ultimate test for Terence Bud Crawford. So you ask, where's the motivation? For one, all that damn money. For two, let me see what Canelo can do at his comfortable weight, being the cash cow, being the A side, and I'm one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. So I want to test myself to see what I can do with this kid that's a lot bigger than me, because he's been fighting at this weight class for the last 4 years or 5. That's the motivation right there. But you guys tell me what you think of Jermall Charlo and his assessment on Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, which he still likes Terence Crawford. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.